And we have an update now on a controversial development project in Boone County.
Indiana's Economic Development Corporation, the IEDC, has spent at least $400 million to buy up thousands of acres of land for what's called the LEAP Research and Innovation District in Lebanon. Here's video of some of that. It stands for Limitless Exploration Advanced Pace. It's been pitched by the state as a future competitor with North Carolina's Research Triangle. Well, now our news gathering partners at the Capital Chronicle say some of that land is listed for sale and the price is less than what taxpayers paid for it just 2 years ago.
Chronicle reporter Whitney Downard wrote the story and joins us now with what else she has learned about this. So let's talk about how much land is this?
Yeah, so there's 2 parcels of land, both that have homes on them. One parcel of land has only 1 acre, and then the second parcel is 7.87 acres, so a little under 8 acres. And so it's just a tiny portion of the overall 5,800 acres that LEAP has bought so far.
And we're taking a look at where this is. If you're familiar, it's right off of 65 and the US 52 interchange right there, County Road 250 and US 52.
And so how much are they trying to sell back?
Yeah, so the slightly larger house is kind of harder to estimate because it was part of a 20-acre deal, but that's 1.1 million when they paid 2.3 million initially. Yeah. And then the other home is the exact same as far as I can tell, and that was initially listed for, the state paid $840,000 for it, and it's now listed for $649,900.
Critics of this project have argued the state shouldn't act as a land developer. First, there wasn't enough water to support the development. That had to be figured out. Critics were also concerned potentially about overpaying on the taxpayer dime. You talked with these critics. What do they have to say about this latest development?
Yeah, so development deals by their nature have to be done kind of behind closed doors while negotiations are ongoing to make sure that everybody's free to discuss what sort of terms they want. But when you're a state actor, that's not something that people want to hear, especially when you're using state tax dollars. And so this has really been a pivot for the IEDC that not everybody has been a fan of because we don't know of any other confirmed tenants. Meta has struck a tentative deal in the area, but
other than Lilly,
who is the only $18 billion investment we've had so far, nobody else has announced a contract.
I mean, it sounds like the location could have been an issue. I went to college in North Carolina, and the difference between the Research Triangle and here is that it's around a lot of other industry and universities, and there's a lot happening in the area versus this location.
Although they did say that they picked that location because of the proximity to Purdue University, but you're right, there is a bit of a difference there with the number of research institutions.
Yeah, and if you ask Lebanon Mayor Matt Gentry, he'll kind of say he sees this as a really long-term project and tries to point out that the Research Triangle wasn't developed overnight. I can't push back on that. I was not in the Research Triangle when it was being developed. So I think he's still kind of asking people, wait and see, it's going to pay dividends.
We should point out really quickly here that the IEDC did issue a statement. They don't see this as a failure, but they say this is just, they're in the process of analyzing all land assets within the LEAP district. As part of that analysis, the IEDC identified 2 purchase properties that were necessary at the time for access and annexation, no longer warrants the state maintaining to support current and future investments. So they see this as just kind of the evolutionary part of the process.
Yeah, and so you have these homeowners with valid concerns that these taxpayer dollars are being used to buy land and homes at an inflated price. It's a 23% price cut for the one home that I calculated. Yeah. But then at the same time, the IDC is defending it.
Okay, Whitney Downard, thank you so much. Yes. We appreciate you for sharing.
That's your story on the Capital Chronicle. Let's get to